we had a member of the board who had a hearing disability, and the town had to provide a stenographer so he could follow the meeting. I would think that they would have to somehow accommodate Diane getting to a meeting as well.
I'm absolutely certain that they would have to. Yeah. Yes, absolutely positive.
They didn't before. When I came to the meeting, it's $20 a night, $40 a week.
Hey, Diane, I'm going to look into that because, you know, I think that if you're unable, you know, if you're an elected official and you're unable to get there, that there's some impediment, you know, physical impediment to your getting there, the town should be, like Val said, you know, able to, or at least put up the money to accommodate your ability to get to the meeting that you were elected to go to. So, yeah, I can look into that. Yes, Holly?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that staff, we will contact town administration and get the actual, you know, those questions that you've all raised answered for you.
Great. And could you include the thing about remuneration for Diane?
Absolutely.
With the transportation.
Yep.
Could I suggest that perhaps we get some information from the governor's office as well as?
Oh, I think that's where it's going to be coming from.
Correct.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, because they're so consistent with their information.
When they said that I couldn't chair a meeting because I was on the hybrid, that came from the Nantucket lawyer, not from town. That was his opinion.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure who the ultimate arbiter of that is. I would think that it might be the state.
Yeah, I think it's the state too.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, staff, you have your work cut out for you. Whenever you get some answers, let's revisit this thing, okay? Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. I'm going to put off the task group because we don't have a lot of time today. It's already 1:20, and it would be great to cover some of this list. So let's start into it. Now, the first thing that I have is the old business application for 7 North Mill that we did not have representation for on Tuesday. Is Sophie here today? Does anybody see her in the queue?
I don't see her in queue, and I don't see Atlantic as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
I think they're coming on Tuesday.
They may be, but I know that they're doing some sort of negotiating. So that's probably what's going on behind the scenes. So it sounds like we need to hold again for representation. Can somebody do that for me for items 1 and 2?
I will make the most.
Very good. Thanks so much. Diane's made a motion to hold items 1 and 2. John, just FYI, this is 7 North Mill Street. Those 2 applications are being held for representation. That's the vote. And Diane has made the motion. On the motion, Val.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
John.
Repeat the motion, please, Mr.
Motion is to hold for representation. First 2 items.
First 2, thank you.
Yep. Are you in?
Mr. Chair, could I make a really quick interruption? I'm sorry.
Of course. Yeah.
You have this has a sitting board with Carrie instead of Val. So I don't know
no, you're
if you
right.
want to stick with that sitting board or what. I mean, it's not being open.
You're
just
absolutely
wanted to remind you.
Right. So let's retake that vote. Okay. So Diane is on this. So she did make the motion. So on that motion, Abby.
Aye.
Thank you. Carrie.
Aye.
Thank you. John.
Aye.
Very good. Diane, on your motion.
Aye.
And I'm in favor too. Thanks for the clarification, Terry. Okay, now is Val Oliver, is she here?
Yes,
okay.
She is, and she'd like to share her screen.
Okay, so the board on the 2 Val Oliver applications is the same. myself, Abby, John, Diane, Carrie, all of whom are here. Okay, so go for it. First one is 6 Lincoln Street.
Am I sharing? Can you
Sure.
see it?
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
Now it is.
All
Okay.
right. So
All
6
right.
Lincoln Street. Yep.
So this was a second floor addition to an existing house. And oops, sorry. Here's the house from Lincoln Street. This area is where you would see the addition.
Okay.
I wanted to point out a few things, which is why I wanted to share my screen. There was concern about the rear and the dormer being too large. So I went back and found some pictures that I think will help if people didn't get to go out there. So there's a house in back of this one on Sunset Ridge, which is at least 4 feet higher than Lincoln Street. So I wanted to point that out. This structure, which is this in the back, is down a few feet, like 2 feet, as it is existing. So what I'm trying to establish for you is visibility, lack of visibility. So here's the house in back of it on Sunset, and here's the area we're adding up. This again is the house in back and where we're adding. And here is another house on Sunset, which they also own. There's the garage that's next to it, the one that's next to the house we're talking about. And here is the area.
Okay, so that yellow arrow wasn't pointing to the single-story house in the foreground.
Yes. Oh, no. The one in the rear, sorry.
Right.
Yep. So with those shown to you, the concerns mostly had to do with dormers. So there was a concern with the dormer that I had on the front. And I think Abby suggested maybe the dormer being bigger and the windows lining up with what was, or correlating with what was down on the first floor might be the way to go.
Right.
But what I wanted to show you is that that doesn't allow 3 feet here. So I went back and made sure that the dormer that I'm proposing is perfectly centered between those 2 windows. So while those windows don't line up with what's below, I think they still make sense.
There's order. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so in the rear, I chose to do something different. Instead of the big long dormer, which was a concern for everybody, including Sconset Advisory Board, I chose to make it a gable mass and then append the dormer to that, just to break up the roof line, which was another main concern.
Okay.
I will point out that this is 22 feet and change. So it's not high. And again, would just express that it's down 4 feet from Sunset. It's down in its own little hole where it sits. And I think that the visibility of that rear is very limited. And so with that, I'll let you guys have at it.
Very good. Thank you, Val. So let's hear from Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Sconset originally looked at it in the original version in January. They had concerns on the overall scale of the dormer, did recommend to have it set back 1 or 2 feet off the edge. And again, for the record, this is a 1938 cottage in Sconset. I did take a look at it, and from the proposal that Val has, I think option 1 is better, at least on the front elevation. The rear dormer configuration, I do think is a little, I don't want to say odd, but different. and maybe it's just because it's on a 2D and not 3D, with that inclusion of that gable dormer, showing it all the way to the ridge line.
That's
and
not
again,
a dormer though.
No.
okay. But that's okay. I mean, it's obviously it's a gable end kind of with the dormer, and again, it's a little different. So I thought a recommendation would be to drop that gable off the ridge, and have it in line a little bit more with the shed dormer. So that was my recommendation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, now it's up to the board members.
I'll
Abby.
go.
Oh, thank you, Diane. Go ahead.
I like option 1. On
Okay.
the front.
All right.
I like the smaller dormer and having it where it is. I think and you can make the 3-foot thing. All right. Then the back, I like the bottom one, dropping that whatever it is to the right, whether it's a dormer or whatever, just dropping it down off the roof. But I think that's sort of fun, and it brings the house down by having that big gable like that. I think I like that one.
Wait, okay. So Diane,
Yeah.
if I understand you correctly, so Holly's comments about the back were on the west elevation. Are you looking at, which has one choice?
Right.
Unlike the front, there's just that one choice, which is the gable. Right. Now, the earlier iteration, you can see reduced in size where it says previous submission, it's just a one long dormer, right?
Yeah.
So Val is blowing it up. So that's a dormer. Now, the one that I think the lower one, the lower drawing was the side of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would just, if it's possible, drop it down if it doesn't need to be that. But you
mean keep the gable but drop it down?
Yeah.
I
don't mind the gable because you're not going to be able to see it, and it's not bad on the west. So where are you going to see that gable from what she has showed us? It's completely covered, or it's not viewable. And I don't mind the dormer because it sort of goes with the design of the house. I just think it should come down if possible. On the north elevation, you can see it.
I understand.
Do you make any sense to you?
No, it makes total sense to me.
I forgot to mention too, I pushed the dormer back a foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So that's
okay. So Diane, you all set?
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Abby.
So Valerie, did you on the previous submission, those windows look a lot more better proportioned than they did originally. Did you change them?
Yes, because the dormer pushed back a foot, so the face of the dormer became shorter.
Because I think originally I had a problem with the proportions of the window to dormer, but now they look really good. So I would go for either one on the back. I think they both look good. And could I just look at the front of the house?
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. I like option 1 for the front of the house too. Are they ganged or is it? Because anyway.
No, there's space. There's single space.
I see it. Yeah, I'm good with it. I think it's goes with the little 1930s house.
Okay, great. Thank you. Carrie.
I'm going to be the only stickler because the south elevation is the one that feels very awkward to me.
Oh.
That one where you see that gable coming off the side and that wall. I actually, for me, what would have done it is just that rear dormer, the way you changed it and set it back a foot. that fixed everything for me. But if the majority is happy with this, I won't differ.
I'm going to step out here and say that I think the gable idea was a nice way to sort of mollify the board, but I actually think we'd all be better off with, as Carrie says, the shed dormer in the previous iteration, just push back, which is what you've done. So that's the way I'm going to be going on this. So is that it, Carrie?
Yeah.
May I just speak to that?
Yeah, of course.
So the staircase that's already in this house here, and that's why I can't step it back all the way across.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You did. Oh God.
And
What about
I will
a ladder?
just go back to this picture. This is an angle from the driveway of where you can see this.
Yeah. Okay. That's that side that we were just looking at with Carrie, right?
Right. It's
looking
right
at the
here.
side. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Hang on one second, John. I just want to make sure Carrie's done.
thank you.
Carrie, back to you.
Back to me. I mean, I understand what she's saying. If that's all that can be done, then that's fine, I suppose. Is it connected to the garage now because it's a flush wall all the way back further?
No.
How much space is between the garage and the house?
Here it is, right here.
Right, because that wall is now flush. Right, Val?
It's not, it's not connected. We're keeping this space.
The little space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very narrow.
It's very narrow.
It is narrow.
Very narrow. Yeah.
You're keeping the chimney, right?
Oh yeah, nothing about that is changing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it seems like the majority of the group is fine with it, so I'm not going to argue with that.
I would have preferred the dormer thing, but but here we are. Okay, John, it's your turn.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have a comment. It just happened on this application. Yeah. It flashed on the 4 elevations. That's fine. Then it showed the floor plan. The floor plan has nothing to do with this commission. Exterior architectural features only. That's my only argument on that. It's got to be changed in the future because we're eating up too much time, right? As far as that's my only comment on the structure. I think it looks fine and it look good in that area.
Okay. So you're fine with the proposal.
I'm sorry?
You're fine with the proposal.
Fine.
Yeah.
No, the 2 doors.
Okay.
The front east facing Lincoln.
Yes.
It's existing.
Oh yeah, that's an existing door, John.
Existing. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I understand why you need to have that gable piece. And also I think you've demonstrated that like this gable in the back is not going to be highly visible. Can we make a motion on this one? Just for what it's worth, option 1, I think everybody agrees on that one. So yeah.
I make a motion to approve as submitted using option 1.
For the east elevation, the front.
Yes, for the front east elevation.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. Let's see. So on that motion, Carrie.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Aye.
Thank you, Diane, on your motion.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. So there's 1 down.
I'm going to hold the next one.
You're going to hold the next one?
Yeah, because I think I need to get more pictures.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So can I have a motion from one of the sitting members to hold 5 cudweed?
Motion made. 5 cudweed. Oh.
Okay. So Diane's motion is to hold 5 cudweed. For more information on that motion, Carrie.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. Okay, Joseph Paul, you're
Yes,
there,
sir.
right? Okay, so 10, oh yeah, 10 Union. Okay. Parking and patio. We all remember this. Board here, myself, Diane, Val, Stephen, Carrie. Now, Stephen is not here. And nor is Jesse. So you'd be going with a 4-person board, Mr. Paul.
Right. So I need 3 out of 4 instead of 3 out of 5.
Yeah, you still.
Let me think about it. Well, kinda. Let's see. If it's a 4-person board, and let's just say this gets really complicated with a 4-person board. If it's a 4-person board, I believe that if you have 2 people that vote in favor of, and like 1 abstains and 1 votes against, that's still a majority.
Okay.
Now, no, Joe, where it gets sticky is if you have 2 people vote for it and 2 people vote against it, and we actually have precedent for this in recent history, 2 people for, 2 people against, the motion dies.
Right. But there's no guarantee I'll have 5 people on Tuesday. And this has been dragging on since October.
Yeah, no,
so.
Joe, listen, I could be giving you bad counsel, but I would say go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it because we've made a significant change, I think. And if you let me share my screen, I'd be happy to explain it.
I like your Picasso in the background there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that.
Must have cost you a pretty penny.
That, yeah, I'll tell you that story at some point.
Okay.
Okay, it's actually from the thrift store, but it turned out it was worth some money. I ended up having to pay for half of it in my divorce. But
oh wow, that's funny. So I have a Picasso back here behind me. It's an unfinished Picasso, and I got it at the thrift store.
There you go. Okay, so this is in front. What's you guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
This is what we had submitted originally, and just here's a photograph of the corner of the lot that. There's been, these stairs are existing stairs. There was some confusion about that, I believe, but these are existing stairs that were uncovered, and there is a hill that's here. And so the intent, and then there's the neighbor's parking area is here in the back.
Right.
And we had proposed a 2-car parking space that basically goes back about to where the board changes on this fence. And the hill was going to wrap around it. And we had, a couple of stairs coming down onto this elevated area, and then you would wander down to the lawn. And so initially we had only a 3.5-foot buffer between us and the neighbors, and we had 2 cars of parking and about 20 feet of actually the first one was this. We had the 3.5 buffer, and it was all elevated with brick. Last time we had this, we narrowed up the parking a little bit, and we wrapped, we had plantings around the top. And what we've done now, here's the before, here's what you have now. We increased this buffer to 8 feet, and we're proposing a track of brick with grass on either side of it so that we can park 1 car here. And we have plantings. These are listed as perennial beds that would wrap around this. And then down here.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that everybody understands the significance of what you just said. We had 2 parking spaces before, and now because of the grass strips, it's really 1 parking space. Like if you wanted 2 cars in there, you'd have to park on the grass.
Yeah, well, and we have 13.5. It's brick to brick is 13.5 feet instead of 20 feet is what we had previously.
Right. Okay.
And we enlarged this from 3.5 feet to 8 feet here.
Got it.
Okay. And they lost width too.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then the original application, we had this bluestone patio down here by the house, which was intended to be screened by some plantings. And we had this square grid, and there was a comment about the rigidity of that square grid and the geometry of the circle. And we did revise that to show more irregular stones, but and this is the current application you have. And due to material availability and my client's preference is really more towards the square, not squares, but rectangular shapes of the bluestone, partially because I found at 20 Union Street, here, I'm at the sidewalk here. This is essentially at the level of the sidewalk. And we have a rectangular patio of bluestone that is actually elevated above the lawn area that's going to be much more visible than ours. So what you're looking at here is essentially what my client wants for a patio.
The other
So
thing
not every piece is the same size.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct. Not every
no
piece is
longer
the
a
same
grid.
right. Not every piece is the same size. So,
and the main objection, I think, was coming from Stephen, if memory serves me,
so
was the fact that it was just a strict, like 2x2 grid.
Yeah, and so I misrepresented that. It doesn't look like this. It really is this, which is at 20 and is just as visible as, or more visible than ours. I did take some shots, and I don't want to belabor this whole thing, but this is a shot that I took the past couple of days. The patio is down in here. So you do get a glimpse of it, but it's from a distance, and this is in March. So I really think, I don't think the visibility is a huge issue, but it's so far away from the street and it feels appropriate. So, and I just wanted to clarify the patio, because my recollection is that this was the biggest issue. There was some discussion about making this 2 cars deep, but that really felt like it would extend way down into the property. So that's where we're at.
And trying to back the first car out to get the second car out on Union Street is not.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Can I ask Ray? What is the rule about backing your car out onto a major street?
That you have to do. I mean, it happens all up and down Union Street. But
I know, but I thought they had this said. I thought recently, or not recently, I thought sometime they had said that pulling out of a parking space, backing out was not allowed. That's all.
Yeah, there's a list of streets. There's a list of streets where it's allowed, and in town it's able to happen. And they're all the way down Union Street are spot after spot of double and triple wide brick.
Yeah, that's
spaces.
I just wondered whether if that rule covered Union Street. That's all.
Yeah, and there's a combination of brick and cobble. We proposed brick and grass because I thought the board was looking really more towards more greenery and less.
That's what we're always doing.
It has, yeah.
In general.
But I'm ready.
Okay. Wait. First, I'm pretty sure we have Htab on the revisions. Do we not?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do.
Okay, thanks.
And I also do have photographs that I received from an one of our Htab members that I do believe I emailed to the sitting board.
Yep.
See that. So this, and again, I can't vouch for where exactly these were taken from, but these were provided showing the site. And there are concerns about the step here, but let me read their comments. The patio materials, they reviewed the revised plans on February 28th. The patio material should be irregular stone of a natural color, not bluestone. The patio will be visible. This parking space seems to be an issue of convenience rather than necessity. They should leave the lawn in its natural state and park in front of the house off Coffin Street as they've always have. I know that was a comment as previous. At a minimum, it should be 1 space wide. I think that's what you're doing. Because of its location, an outdoor lighting plan would be nice. If the parking area along Union is approved, a lighting pathway to the house from Union Street would be inappropriate. And HTAB does respectfully request revisions. Obviously these are existing, Joe, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually right where we would be having our parking space, and there's kind of a buried old couple of fragments of stone wall that run down along Union that have been covered with grass. So this was just uncovered when they started clearing this area out, because I went there and the first time I saw these steps, and I thought, wait a minute, somebody installed steps, but they've always been there, and they range in rise from 3 inches to 5 inches, and they're wobbly. I mean, I got down on the property and took some photos, which I have if you care to look at them. But yeah, it's an existing, looks like the homeowner probably made it at some point. Not this homeowner, but the previous one.
Right.
Okay. On that note, from I want to echo HTAB's comments as far as having that irregular stone and natural kind of color like this. But I do agree with the proposed parking layout with the grass and the brick. So those are the comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, who wants to start?
I will.
John, you're not on this one, sir. You're on the next one.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
I will.
Thank you.
I was probably the only person who didn't have a problem with the parking space. I thought it was thoughtful that it was next to the other parking space and away from the house. And really it was the visibility of this patio. And I think for me, it's the shape, it's that lollipop shape, which is so unusual. So if you can see it, I'm not in favor really of that, but with regard to the material, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you, Val. Who's next?
I can
Carrie,
go.
who said that? Carrie?
Sorry, am I on this? Abby?
No. We got Diane and Carrie and me.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead, Diane.
I agree that the shape should not be circular like that. It can just be, if they use stone like at 20 Union, they can make it any shape, but not make it so thing. It looks, I don't know what it looks like, but it's not what's usually used like that, unless you had a fire pit or something that they're planning. I'd like to ask Joe, why, with all this hoorah, are they not using the parking that they've had for years and years and years down off Coffin Street? What is the problem with that?
Well, technically it's not, it's in the road. It's not their property, and the garage is on a separate lot. You know, I'm sorry, Diane, I was going to answer the question about the shape too, but I would
answer both of them.
Yeah, well, I think my client was really trying to minimize the impact of the patio with the shape, so that there's, instead of having one large rectangular patio like the photo that I showed you, he wants to have a more intimate patio when you come out of the house, flanked by plants, which are, you know, kind of in that throat between this rectangular patio that's up by the house, and then the circular patio is where they want to put their dining table. And there's a huge tree, by the way, right at the corner there. Yeah. So rather than doing one large field of bluestone, he thought that by wrapping this organic shape versus a rigid rectangular shape, that it would be more in keeping with the cottage feel of the house. So I think graphically it might jump out, but we're viewing this, you know, from above and, you know, obliquely along a length. And the hope is that you might see the patio that has the table on it, and then a patio with a couple of chairs by the house rather than one expansive patio that feels very rigid, like the photo that I showed you.
Right.
That's the intent behind it.
And
Thanks,
when you
Joe.
make the circle and you're using rectangular pieces of stone, it won't come out to a perfect circle. It'll be broken edged, which is what would be good.
Right.
And I appreciate the change in the driveway up above. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like it because there's enough parking at 8 right next door. But if they can't use the bottom because it's not their road, I can understand that. And I would, again, not use that one, the new one that you got, and round the edges out so it's not such a perfect square. Make it
Yeah,
like,
that one that's up on the screen is the previous one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would, if you have put up the new one, I would just like it with the edges taken off so it's not a perfect rectangle up there, and try and make it fit in. Like you just got to pull it off. You got to, use a piece of land without it being commercially constructed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean, that the corners of, I was going to try to screen share because it looked like,
You were screen sharing.
Oh, I thought that was somebody else. So Diane, you're talking about rounding these, like rounding this corner and rounding that corner.
Yeah, that's all, just to make it look older, not quite so formal. That's
more organic. Well, yeah, that's kind of in line with what we're hoping to achieve with the round patio, that it would not have the rigidity of something like that.
Okay.
Right. But if you had something like that and you followed your round shape, you would have an uneven circle edge, so it would fit in better. I don't mind looking down on it, but I just like to see it fit into the area. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. Carrie, your turn.
Thanks. I appreciate your parking spot solution and reducing it down. I think the rounded satellite patio is something kind of different. And the one in the photo that you showed us is more typical of what we would see. I think I'm okay with the rounded shape. I think what is the issue in the photographs is it's just projecting out closer to the street, whereas something else would be tucked in closer to the house if it weren't that shape and projecting out. But I also think the photographs are not doing it justice because there's no planting around the space that is there, and there will be planting there according to your plan. And I think that will sort of take care of all the issues that would happen.
The picture that here's me walking away from town down Union Street, and there's this large tree here and this cluster of evergreens which are existing, and then that photograph I think was taken right through here. Yeah, so you're seeing the sausage being made. This is them laying the foundation for, not foundation, but the stones for a patio. And then as you go past this, you're back to the greens again. And his plan is to infill around that patio and between all these. And the overall goal was to try to preserve as much of this lawn area that everybody seems to enjoy. That really was the objective between the remote parking space and the patio, that we don't have a patio here, we don't have a patio off the end, that all of this lawn gets to pretty much remain as is.
Okay. So let's let Carrie finish.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it. I just think the plantings are important, that you do plant around each element sufficiently where it blends in and doesn't,
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I definitely agree with. And I'm going to use that as my, starting point. A lot of discussion about sort of the formality of the circle and the stem and all that. But the reality, as we all know, is the only time anybody's actually going to be able to perceive this as a circle is when it gets installed prior to the planting that's happening all around it. Because the minute you put those plants up against it, it's going to soften the edge by default. Like even if they wanted to see the circle, they're not going to see it as a perfect circle because there's going to be portions of the plant that grow over the circle's edge and all that kind of thing. So it's going to reduce the perceived formality of this. I think that this is going to look like a very organic piece in the garden. And this is another case of that sort of, the owner of this property is going to want to have screening between their dining area and Union Street, as much as we will want to have their dining area screened from the public view of Union Street. It's kind of mutual. They don't want to see the cars going by, so they're going to make sure that there's, a buffer there. And that buffer is going to basically take away the hard edge of what, Joe is representing in his drawing. I think that we can all agree that the parking up above is a, major shift from 2 spaces that was very close to the other parking to now 1 space that's much further away and much more heavily vegetated. So I'm totally fine with this project.
Make a motion.
Oh, okay. So Diane's going to make a motion.
Make a motion as submitted with the stone in the patio being like 20 Union Street.
That's the address, right, Joe?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we can reference that. Okay, that's safe. That's good. That's a good way to do it, Diane. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, so Diane has moved to approve this as submitted with the stone on the dining patio emulating the randomness of 20 Union Street as shown in the photograph. On that motion, Val.
Aye.
Thank you, Carrie.
Aye.
Thank you, Diane, on your motion.
Aye.
And I'm in favor too. Thank you all. Thank you,
Thanks,
Joseph.
everybody.
Thank your client for us. Okay, so now it's a Botticelli and Pole, one of those things. Let's see. Abby, you there?
Yep, right here.
Okay, I'm gonna mute. Thank you. Lisa, are you there? Is Lisa there?
You also have a 4-person board because I'm not on this.
Wait, but I want to.
I do not see Lisa.
What?
I don't see Lisa.
I'm going to call her. Gosh, I'm sorry. Can you guys hang on 1 second? This is embarrassing.
Well, we've only gotten through 2 applications, so we're not in a rush at this point.
Okay, I got to run over and go to the other building and get her on. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. How's everybody doing so far?
Good.
Do you want to skip to the next one and come back to this?
I kind of do. Maybe we can get it done. What's the next one?
The next one is Brooke. Is he here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Share
let's
screen.
bring it on, Brooke.
I'm going to share the screen.
Yeah.
All right.
The only problem is Ray's supposed to be on this one. Here he is.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
And it would leave you
I'll
with the
back down.
3-person.
Lisa can go.
Is she on?
We were going to jump ahead to Brooke's project and then come back to Lisa's, but you weren't there for Brooke's. So now you're here for Brooke.
I am here for Brooks. So let's do this studio, 8 Walsh, right?
Yep.
And hopefully Lisa will get on in the meantime. She was on a phone call. Okay, go ahead, Brooke.
All right. Share screen, please. All right, so can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right, so right here, this is the original structure. This was what I proposed previously.
Right.
There was concerns about a cross gable and also the busyness of the elevation facing Wall Street. And so as we move down here, I'll show you what I did facing Wall Street. Oh, and the height. So I dropped it a foot. I simplified the front, and actually this is supposed to be clouded as well. And I pulled the that gable on the north and the south elevation in so that there was a little bit more detail on the side. So I'm hoping that it doesn't read like a cross gable as much. And then again, going around pretty much the same elevation as the others, as the prior, except for with the lower gables on the north and the south. I also did an exhibit A just to test out the dormer idea. So if I can show that to you if you want, or if you want to just look at this for now, we can start there.
Hey, Brooke.
Yep.
Can you remind me of something? I think I know the answer to this, but I think one of the comments you're going to be getting is all like these vertically formatted 3/1 windows. Mm-hmm. Are they to match the house?
They are.
Okay. So it's atypical, but okay. So there they are. All right. And also this is interesting because the same sort of bracket detail does show up on the house.
Exactly.
It's that water table too, I think, right?
The water table, the bracket, and okay. Even the way that the bracket relates to the corner board, I tried to copy that. One thing that I do want to point out is, and again, you know what, we'll talk about it as drawn right now. And then if there's some interest in looking at my exhibit A, which shows these.
I'm dying of curiosity. Just
all right, fine. So here it is. That's with the 6-pitch dormer.
Oh, that's interesting.
To match what's there now.
And that side that we saw with the dormers is the one that faces Walsh, right?
Yeah. The side that faces Walsh is still the east elevation.
No. Stop. On the main house. We just saw the photograph of it. That's the side that right there. That faces Wall Street.
Yep, and these are 6-pitch.
I understand.
Yep.
And so you basically emulated that on your new structure. Or the alternate.
Yes, that's the alternate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did this.
All right. Anything else, Brooke?
Nope.
Okay, so now I'm sure we have Htab on this.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Htab took a look at the revisions on February 28th. Also, just for the record, the existing garage that is proposed to be converted is 1950s, 1960s. There is an HDC survey. They said that raise the plate of the dormer a foot or so, so the eave lines don't meet. This will help the dormer look more like a dormer rather than a cross gable. And then they did ask for respectfully request revisions if you're so inclined. I mentioned this at the previous review. I understand the intention of taking this garage and converting it into living space. The proposal, however, does eliminate that lean-to profile of the original garage, but I do appreciate the details that you're bringing out from the house. And if I had a vote, I'd say the last your sample that you brought up.
Well, interestingly, Holly, the Htab comment on raising up the plate on the dormer 1 foot, I think is what Brooke actually did.
I think so.
In the variant.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so that looks to me to be approximately a foot raised, just like Htab was asking for. Okay, thanks, Holly. Board members, and we are short one. Jesse is not here. So the board on this is myself, Abby, John, Diane. Who would like to begin?
I can go.
Great.
I like this second iteration too. I think it matches the main house. Thank you.
It does. Okay. Diane, you ready?
Yep, I now I understand it better, having seen those pictures. And I go with the second one too. I think that's good and simple.
Okay. Yeah, it's charming.
This one?
Yeah, that's,
okay.
I think you're going to get a consensus on that, certainly from me. John, it's your turn, friend.
I'm sorry?
It's your turn.
Okay, thank you. 8 Wall Street, could you go to the photo of this house, please? The side street or whatever's there, the street. Right
So
there.
the lower photo is the front of the house that faces Walsh, John.
Right.
So those 3/1 windows exist in the old house. The little brackets exist in the old house. Brooke basically tried to take as many details off of this house and put it onto the new one as he could.
Okay. It says studio.
Yes.
Studio.
What was that, John?
It says studio.
Yes.
3, yeah, 8 Wall Street says studio. Where is the studio?
Well, that was the drawings we were just looking at. So Brooke, if you can go back to that.
Right?
And Brooke, I would show your alternate. There, right there, John.
There's the one, yeah, okay.
That's it.
I just looking at the gable ends or rafter ends. They're matching. They're matching the main house.
Correct.
Point I was making right, yeah. What are those 3 light windows that are there on the north elevation?
On the north elevation?
Yeah.
They look like to me to be a half sash. Is that right, Brooke?
That is correct. There are several fixed units. This is a 3 light. You can't see it, and I'm sorry I didn't include it, but this is a 3 light, and that's a 3 light.
My comment now. I just got interrupted. All right, it's up to. I want to see it a little bit more, please. The band board.
Yes.
The band board around all 4 sides.
Correct.
What's the purpose of the band board?
It's matching the house, John. There is a band board on the house.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't see it. Okay. Okay. Thank you. No comment. I think.
Well, I'm fine with the Exhibit A version of this with the dormers. I think that's well done. Does anybody want to make a motion on this?
I'll make them. Get Johnny.
Johnny, were you about to make a motion?
Yes, I will make a motion to approve it as submitted because it
Okay.
matches.
Okay, and that would be Exhibit A, right, John?
Right there, what's on there?
Yeah, that's okay. So I'm just for the record, that's called Exhibit A. Okay, so John is making a motion to approve Exhibit A in Brooke's package. On John's motion, Diane.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
John, on your motion.
Aye.
Thank you, and I'm in favor. Motion carries. Thank you, Brooke.
I'm sorry.
Is that Lisa?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a ZBA hearing and then I forgot.
Oh,
Yeah. And Lisa, you can go. I'll.
Oh no, go ahead, Brooke. If you're not done.
Well, this next one's a
doozy.
Well, maybe yours is too. I don't know.
I don't think so.
We can Rochambeau. What do you want to do, Mr. Chair? Or
no, well, I can.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
What?
What do you want to do, Madam Chair? Me or Lisa?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I can't make that decision. Who's next, really?
Well, I missed my spot because I had a
come on back. Do you mind, Brooke, if
not at all, not at all.
Okay, here we go.
I will unshare. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Oh, and you know what? I do have some photos that I might need to pull up. I'd like to pull up actually. So Let's see where I put them. Put up some height poles. So these are, this is an application for revisions to 32 Jefferson Avenue. Do you want to, should I have you share the drawings first? And then I'll show you the height poles that were installed.
In 2017? Yes. Okay.
You just have to zoom out a little bit, I think. It's showing. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I don't know if everybody remembers this application. It was heard a while ago, and the application is for some revisions to an existing house. And we have made some changes. I think there was concern over the loss of the center chimney, so we put a chimney back in the middle. We've reduced the third floor dormers. We changed the door style on the second floor to reflect a mutton design that's more similar to the windows on either side, so that it blends a little bit more. We also put the stairs back in the middle, but we made them friendship stairs. And that's basically because of the grade and how the grade works there, because of the retainage, which we can see if we look at the photos. I'm trying to see if there are any other, those were the major revisions. We did put up some height poles and took some pictures from the neighborhood, which now I can, if I could share my screen, I can show you before we go back. Okay, share screen, share. So the sun's kind of in here. I don't know if everybody can see that, but those are the height poles. And that's a line. And that kind of just shows relative to the other houses in the neighborhood. It's below the chimney line of the house next door. That's the visibility of it from down on the road.
You, Lisa.
Huh?
Thank you for those.
I'll email them to you right now, Adrian, so that you have them. Or Holly.
Thank you, Lisa. Yep.
Is that it, Lisa, for the presentation?
I think so. I mean, I think we addressed the issues that were brought up, so I look forward to your comments.
Very good.
I'll
okay.
go.
Matt,
You ready?
Do you want public comment?
Holly.
Oh,
I do have HTAB comments and then I guess public comment, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Thanks, Holly.
So HTAB took a look at the revisions before you on February 28th. They said that the dormer windows are too tall. They should be a step down in size from the windows below. This will reduce the scale of the dormer to a more reasonable height. Using a full glass door as the front door is not appropriate. It should be a more traditional front door with less glass and matching side lights. The second floor railing might be improved by shingling the sides in a short ways in front of each corner. And then HTAB does respectfully request revisions if you're so inclined. Just for the record, this is a 1980s structure that does actually have an HDC survey. So those are comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Sarah, do we hear from you now?
Yeah, thank you. I had provided some pictures, albeit without the benefit of the height poles. I don't know if you saw those or not, but I think they show that this house, particularly once it's added onto, is going to be very high and kind of looming. It's already up off Jefferson Street, up on the hill, above all the other houses. And I don't know if you can show the pictures that I submitted or not, but they show that. And I can only imagine what this particular owner would be saying if anyone else was suggesting additions to a building like this. I can only imagine that the conversation would be quite different. It's going to be a very imposing look down.
Sorry, Sarah.
Yeah.
Point of order, please. This is not the owner that you think it is. So I'm not sure that I appreciate that statement.
Oh, I thought you were recused.
Yeah, I am, but I'm allowed to make a point of order.
Or voice a concern. I will voice that concern then. Ray is correct. It is not the owner that you think it is. It's a different owner. So,
well, regardless,
Very cryptic.
This particular structure is going to be way too high for this neighborhood.
well, I just showed a photo that showed the opposite.
But you showed it from an angle that was favorable to your.
No. We showed it from the bottom of the hill looking up from Jefferson.
Yeah, well, I think if
Not
you
favorable.
showed some, I think if you showed some of the other structures in the area, the picture is quite different. You showed it next to the house that's closest in its height, but all the other structures in that area are much smaller and much more modest than what's being done to this particular structure.
I do want to point out that this is already a 2-story house. So the height is raising, yes, by increasing the roof pitch, but not significantly. And it is also shown in comparison to its neighbor in our photo, the immediate context, which I think is what's applicable. I emailed those to Holly. Adrian, I didn't have your email, so I can resend them if you want to pull them back up.
Hey, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I actually realized I am allowed to speak on this. I am the applicant. I'm recused, I won't be voting, but just in the same way that Val can represent her projects and Carrie can represent her projects, I can represent my projects. I choose not to, but I choose to now because of what's happening. So has Sarah identified who she represents?
I did. I represent the immediate abutter.
Who's the immediate abutter?
You know, I thought that the way that this ran was that you had an opportunity to say something, then I had an opportunity to say something, and then we went to the board. If you want to cross-question me, that's absolutely fine. But I'd like the board to put up the photos that I submitted so that there's at least an equal playing field.
Adrian, they're in the folder. Sorry, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If you could show those, and yeah, maybe we won't cross back and forth anymore.
I'd like to start with this one, please.
Yeah, John, can you, you'll go first. Sarah's just going to show a picture showing the landscape around this house.
Yeah, I'm looking for those photos now.
Too many people talk, too many people at once, too many interruptions. That's what's wrong.
I know it got a little interrupty there, but hold on.
Well, I said I'd like to do this one, and nothing was happening.
Yep, John, just hold on one sec. We're looking at these. Do you see the photographs?
Right.
Okay, so there's in that middle house is the
right.
The one in question. And where is the okay, well
okay, so you can see that it's way up on the hill, kind of looming over these structures that are down immediately next to it.
Yeah, so it's the looming above or the looking
above.
Down people who
it's looming over.
Okay, all right. So well, thank you, Sarah, for bringing that up, because that will help.
Did we just lose a board member?
No, we're good.
No, Madam Chair, just Val Oliver, for the record, has left the meeting, but she's not sitting on this.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. So John, you wanted to go first on this. Could we go back to the drawings now?
Yeah, it's a main house, and it's for an addition. Am I correct?
Yeah, yes, renovation.
Okay, I will go then, thank you. Which is the east elevation, okay? Number one is the front door should be no side lights because they match the door itself. They should the door. That's number one. And the other one is they revised the window. What do who's representing this?
I am.
Okay, what is it? It says revised window. How are they revising it?
If you go to the left, Adrian, it'll show what was previously submitted. It was made to be the same size as the other windows. In the last submission, it was smaller, and the board requested consistency across that elevation. So we made the window a little bit larger. And then we changed the door design as well, John, to blend in with the window type.
All right, I have further comment. Number one is the front door should be changed, and it's showing they want to add a chimney. My question is that chimney brick or podge?
Let me just double check. I believe they are. Let me just I think they're brick, but let me just double check the application so I don't misspeak.
I'm not getting you. Repeat.
Waterstruck brick. It's brick.
Brick, okay. And the other one on the right where the two windows are there?
That's brick as well.
Right here, they got to come down 8 to 10 inches because the meeting rails don't line up with the fascia board right there. So that's got to be dropped down. At least, I say it's close, 8 to 10 inches looking at it. So that's a comment should be done there on that. And then the rest of it looks pretty good where it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. Diane.
Yeah, I'm for the way Htab said the front door should be. On the second floor, the balcony right there, you have two doors coming out. Is it necessary to have two doors?
Well, yes, we'd like the two doors, but Htab had an idea of actually shingling around the corner so that you didn't see the two doors. They just ended up kind of looking more like windows, which I thought was a good comment.
Yeah, I think
that's happy to do that.
That I would go with that if you have to have the two doors. The other thing is I would question the two mulled windows on both sides of the front door. Are they fulfilling some need that we don't know about?
Well, just adding more light to the building. I think you have to keep in mind that this building is set really far back on Jefferson, and it now has the porch around it, and I think it's the visibility of them is limited, and they just work better as a gang. It doesn't look like the elevation is too penetrating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It just seems like a lot of ganged windows on the front of a building that's, I don't know what year you said it was built
1980.
But the whole strip there of Jefferson has sort of old buildings and newer. That is all. What is it if you're coming down Jefferson? Do you see either side of this building or just?
You really don't. I mean, it's up on the hill as Sarah's pictures indicate, and it's set so far back from Jefferson.
Well, it's just
got you see, it's got the cottage in front.
Yeah, and I don't mind the friendship stairs. I think it's perhaps they're better than going out the straight down. This gives you at least a decision to which way you're going to go. So I don't know whether it would be good as far as your height is concerned to have another view of how it is sitting and with the markers up. It's hard to tell when you just how many, what is it, 29 feet?
Yes, I believe that is right. Let's see.
29 or 30.
It's 28 feet, I think, from the high side, from where the grade is higher.
Yeah, and it's 30 feet on the front, I think is what it says.
Yeah. But again, it is, you know, by the virtue of the pictures that we took with the height poles, it is actually lower than the house, the adjacent house. And there are 2-story houses up there, as Sarah's photos indicate.
Right, but it's, I don't know, maybe it would be less heavy, less tall, less imposing without the dormers on the 3rd floor. I don't suppose that's been mentioned, but I look at them today, and with the mulled windows and up there, it tells you that it's a big tall building, and I'm not sure that's what should be tucked up there. So I won't make a positive statement on it, but I think to consider maybe somebody else would think what they thought of those windows and the idea of having another view with the height poles.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Diane. Carrie.
I think that this house, I think the wraparound porch is helping ground it. So that's something in the favor of its height, but I do think the dormers, as well as Diane, that those dormers read like a 3rd floor, and I think they need to be reduced even further. I appreciate that you brought them in width. That helps a lot, but I also think they need to come down now 1 or 2 sizes if you're going to have 2 windows up there, because I think that's what's drawing attention to the height difference, because I don't think the height difference will really be noticed, but those dormers are what's bringing the eye up there. And if those are minimized, I think it will take care of all the issues. All the other things I think are great. I think the front door will not be significant in terms of viewability. I think the porch, the 2nd floor deck railings are fine that way, simply because they're lighter, and adding walls will make them feel heavier up there. So that's all I have.
Oh, thanks, Carrie. I agree with Htab about the 3rd floor dormers. I think they're overwhelming, but I also kind of like them because I think before the house was very, very subtle and low key, but I think this gives it a new sort of positive spirit. So I'd like to see those reduced some more, brought down maybe from the ridge. And then the far right one, the ganged windows there, they come forward to me and demand too much attention. I'd like those shrunk as well. I don't mind the front door. I think it's very elegant, and it looks appropriate for the area. I like the friendship steps. I mean, this is the first I've heard of somebody being worried about looking up from a street, but rather than somebody ruining their view looking down. So you know, right, I understand that.
Yeah.
I make a motion to hold for revisions.
Yeah. Thanks, Diane.
And return it to Htab.
Absolutely. And why don't we all have a drive-by and take a look at it one more time before we give it a go?
I think that and we'll add that. End of view.
Thank you, Diane, for that motion. On your motion, Carrie.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Myself, aye. And Diane?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Well, Brooke.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. Sorry.
We should give him an
let's just remember this on Tuesday.
We will. Okay, so we don't have any minutes to approve, I don't think, do we? Before we go, no, we already took care of that. So I think we can adjourn. Sound good with everybody?
Yeah, I motion to adjourn. Great.
Well, do you want to make a motion, friend?
Sure. I made a motion to adjourn.
Oh, you did? Okay. So John has made a motion to adjourn for today. On that motion, Diane?
Aye.
Val?
Val, I think left.
Oh, Val left. Abby?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
John, on your motion?
Yes.
All right, and I'm in favor too, so that motion carries. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming out on a Thursday. See you Tuesday.